Hello and welcome to this special edition of GWTV Unstoppable. Today we're going to give you exclusive preview coverage of the 2016 Georgies. I'm your host, Sean Grant, and joining me today are your co-hosts Alexis Letty and Andy Weber. Alexis, Andy, how you guys doing today?
I'm just happy to be here and talk about the Georgies. It's something I'm really excited about.
Yeah, it's a great spring day, Sean. Happy to be here for the Georgies. It's a great event for everyone in athletics and for the school. So
well, I'm
pumped.
sure everyone is very excited to get a couple of athletes' opinions on who they think should win the various awards. Hopefully, there's not too much of a conflict of interest. Voting for your own teams. But let's get right down to it. We're going to start off with the female rookie of the year. Now, our nominees for this award were Sophia Pavon from the soccer team, May Lynn Bautista from the basketball team, Emily Zhang from the swimming and diving, and Kelsey Clark from volleyball. Alexis, who did you have for this award?
So this one was really hard for me. I was between two people. I was between Sophia Pavon and Kelsey Clark. They both performed outstanding this year. They both started in multiple games, and they both actually were the second leading scorers of their teams. Both also were on the All-10 Atlantic rookie squad, but Sophia was the rookie of the year. So in my eyes, she was the one who's going to get the award from me. Even though Kelsey Clark, I trained with her every day, but it's going to be Sophia for me.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was definitely a tough competition between these four. All 18 rookies of the year, of the week, once in a while, here and there. I want to go with Pavon, I think, because of soccer. Soccer did very well this year, both men's and women's sides. We'll go with Pavon. I also will appreciate, though, Clark played very well in her own. Zhang led the swimming and diving team several times in her event, and then same with Batista. Or is that correct? I think I'm saying it right. Yeah. Okay.
It is.
Are all doing very well. So
okay.
It was definitely probably the toughest category I've seen on the list because they were all very good rookies of the year.
I'm sure it'll get more difficult as we go along. I don't think any of the selections are easy. All of these athletes in their own right have performed well. Well, guys, now let's move on to the Male Rookie of the Year award. And now for this award, we have several nominees. We have Derek Poontip from the sailing team. We have Logan Lau from the golf team, Moody Abdel Maksud from the squash team, and Josh Monticelli from swimming and diving. Now, I think I'll start off this one. I had to go with Moody Abdel Maksud for this one. He came all the way over from Egypt to play on the GW squash team. Played very well right at the beginning of the season. He had some critical wins against some tough Ivy League competition right at the beginning of the season. And, I thought that showed the transition coming over from Egypt didn't affect him very much. And it's tough coming over to be an international student and then playing, just in a country that's not your own for the first time. And so I really thought that distinguished him in my eyes, and I thought that made him a clear choice for this award. But let's hear what you guys have to say on this.
I'm going to have to choose Logan Lau. He's had an outstanding performance his whole freshman year here at GW, and he's actually been nominated for Atlantic 10 Rookie 4 times already and is the leading scorer for the men's golf team here at GW. So for me, it's going to be Logan Lau.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Logan Lau as well. Back to being an A10 Rookie of the Year. As you said, always leading the program. If you read those news articles on GWSports.com, he's always leading. He's always the best competitor, which I think is impressive for a freshman. I think there's some very tough Division I teams that they compete versus in the A10 and throughout the Mid-Atlantic area that they all have to compete against. So I think Logan Lau is definitely the choice because he's led them throughout the season, which very few freshmen have done this year. I will hand it to them, though. Derek Poontip has had a very successful season on the sailing team. The sailing team has done another historic year for them, among the top 5 programs in the country for college sailing. And as you said, Adu from the squash team, come all the way over from Egypt, a great guy, great competitor, but it's
got to be Lau for you.
If Lau doesn't win it, to me, it's a big shock to me, I think.
I agree.
Well, now let's move on to the Female Athlete of the Year award, and for this award we have several nominees, as with the other awards. We have Cami Druin-Allaire from the gymnastics team, Anna Porras from the squash team, Chichi Osukuchu from the volleyball team, Miranda DeBazio from the cross-country and track team, and finally Jonquel Jones from the basketball team. Guys, what did you have for this one?
I don't know about you all, but Jonquel Jones, she is drafted in the WNBA, if you all don't know, and she's had an outstanding season. She was the leading person to have double-doubles in the A10 and actually the leading national rebound player of the year. She had 14.6 per game, so I don't know about you, but I think that's incredible.
Yeah, Sean, my notes say JJ all the way.
Yes,
I think that she definitely has this in the bag. Miranda's a personal friend of mine. She's a very, very nice girl. She's a very fast runner, but I think JJ, hands down. WNBA, 6th overall pick, And Nike has had a deal signed with her, so she's now professionally signed by Nike, professional athlete, first one in this year for the athletic department. So it's got to be here for sure. There's no argument.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with either of you. I had Jonquil Jones for my pick as well, and definitely I think that she deserves it. So let's hope that she gets it. Now moving on to the Male Athlete of the Year award. The nominees for this award, we have our Andrea Bolognesi from the swimming and diving team, with Garrett Hain from the soccer team, Ryan Tucker from cross country and track, and finally Tyler Kavanaugh from the basketball team. Alexis, what did you have for this one?
I actually picked Andrea Bonglese, and it's because he won all 3 of his events that he competed in A10 and set records in the A10 conference. He went all the way to NCAA, went to the B round, and he made it back for finals. He was ranked 16th, so he moved up 8 places, and he became NCAA All-American, which is the only NCAA All-American that we actually have here at GW. So for me, it's him because that's an outstanding accomplishment that this program's never seen before.
Yeah, he's definitely an historic athlete. I went with Tyler Kavanaugh on the basketball team. He wasn't an All-American, but he did help lead the program to an NIT championship. He didn't play like his best season this year, but when he got to NIT, he went crazy. Yes. He played in amazing games. He led the team, and I think while the NIT wasn't really their goal this year, it was still a big accomplishment to win that and beat teams by so many points.
Right.
I think that he's the best choice because he kind of was such a leader in the basketball program.
Well, now, this might be a difficult selection, but for this one, I have to go with Ryan Tucker. Now, Andy, I think that you might sympathize with this a little bit, but cross country and track is something that might not get as much press. But Ryan Tucker was going out every weekend in his meets, was breaking personal records, and he was breaking school records at meets in the fall and in the spring. And he's continued to do that throughout the entire year. And so I think that deserves some recognition. Right. And that's why I'm going to go with Ryan Tucker for this Male Athlete of the Year.
I will agree. To see my piece on Ryan, he is the best guy in our program, has been for most of his years here. He came in as a coach's first recruit, as Coach Weir's first ever recruit, because Coach Weir's been around for 5 years now. He has led us every year, it seems, and he is always getting PRs. It always seems like that. Now, while we didn't have our best year in cross country, he was third in the A10 cross country meet. He's done very well. He's still leading the A10 pretty high up in his with his 5K and 3K times. I think that while you're right, we get overshadowed a lot. He definitely has a chance. Definitely should be looked at while choosing the winner for this year's award.
But obviously, I feel like this will be the toughest award for us to pick because there's so many good, so many good choices. I believe. For this one.
I think there's
really
an issue.
I think it's the toughest award because you're trying to choose the best of the best, and and there have been a lot of outstanding athletes this year. It's tough to choose. Now we're going to move on to the Female Red Auerbach Award, and our nominees for this award are Hannah Cox from the water polo team, Maggie Shelbred from the volleyball team, Olivia Bordeaux from the lacrosse team, and Lydia Barber from the rowing team. Alexis, for this award?
For me, I'm going to have to pick Maggie Shelbred. She's on my team. I see all she's involved in. She's involved in SAC here at GW. She's involved in the international fairs and business. She's always coming to our team with community service opportunities. And she's also played on the team. She starts almost every game. So that's really, she's an all-around great player, great person. She does it all like this award is for, so she's going to have to be the one to win it for me.
For some reason, I don't know it's on this nomination. I must have missed that. I do agree with what you said. I mean, those are true things. I also believe the Cox on the rowing team, Lydia Barber, is also very involved in community service, has, I guess the word is Cox the team for a very long time, and that's what she's doing, very successful at her job. So I think that once again, a tough award. It's hard to say because it's a very specific, it's an all-around person. And everyone I think as an athlete at this school has a lot of good traits to them. So it's going to be tough to tell, who has the most and who has the most all-around personality to run for this award.
Definitely an interesting award. And now we're going to move on to the Male Red Auerbach Award. And now for this award, our nominees are Reed Breck from the squash team, Matthew Scott from the soccer team, Daniel Selenkov from the tennis team, and Patricio Garino from the basketball team. And now, you know what? I mean, I'm just going to start out. And I mean, maybe it was just the comparison actually to Red Auerbach, who was a guard here at GW. Then he went on to be a fantastic coach in the NBA. And, and maybe the award itself is not a direct basketball comparison, but I've put it as someone who has an all-around knowledge of the game that they do, and then they bring it out onto the court or the field or whatever every night with as much heart as they can give, and that's why I thought Patricio Guarino should be the one to win this award. And again, maybe that's not what this award is about, but I thought the comparison was very interesting that Patricio should be put up for the Red Auerbach Award.
Yeah.
So
I agree. Mine was between either Patricio or Reed Breck, because I see Reed all around campus. I see him going to different events. I think I've seen him in the SAC meeting before. So he's very involved as well. He's a familiar face to me. And it is going to be tough competition with, like you said, Patricio, who plays basketball, like the man who is the award for this.
All right, so I actually also went with Patricio. When you think GW basketball, you do think Patricio. He has his own little skit where he teaches like Spanish lessons to the crowd. So he does that. He's a very likable guy. I think you'll go with him because when you think basketball, you always think him. And he's just a man of the campus. Whenever you think GW, you also see Patricio all around. I probably seen the most of the basketball team all year. I don't know why. He always seems to be outside. So
he's always smiling.
Yeah, he's always happy, which I think is key for an award like this. While all those athletes that we had before were definitely great guys, I think you'll go for sure with Patricio.
Okay, cool. All right. Now we're going to move on to the Team Raise High Community Award, and our nominees for this award are the gymnastics team, the women's lacrosse team, the women's tennis team, and the men's swimming and diving team. Guys, what did you have for this award?
I think here at GW, everyone has done an outstanding job with community service, considering that we're #1 in the NCAA for community service. But I'm going to have to give it up to men's swimming and diving. I was working the Cherry Blossom 10-mile run, and I saw them there at 5 o'clock in the morning. And a lot of their jobs was to be bicycle valets, so they would take people that biked in and ride them to a certain location. And I was a gator driver, so I had an easy job, but they were bicycling around in the cold of the morning, and I have to give it up to them for that.
Yeah, I actually agree. Swimming diving is also my pick. I actually saw them doing service on the way here to today's broadcast.
Oh, wow.
They were at SMPA doing some type of Earth Day celebration. So they're very active in the community, as you can already see. But then again, all these teams are. If you walk around the Smith Center, there's actually pictures all over the walls of teams doing service. I think all these teams, I think some are left out too of who should be given the award. But GW is a very active campus, comes to community service, and it's a tough choice. But I'm going with swimming and diving. And I'm not confident in my choice, to be honest, because there's just so much to be known about this award that it's hard to give a definite choice.
Right. Well, now we're going to move on to the Fan of the Year award. And now, guys, this might be my favorite award, is because every person who's being nominated for this award, they are all tremendous characters in their own right. But the nominees for this award are Kate Bell, Ryan Green, Cecilia Dreyfus, and John Herring. Guys, who did you have for this award?
It's got to be either Kate Bell or John Herring. I see them at every event I go to. I go to lacrosse, basketball, baseball, rowing, and either it's one or the other that are there. I know they're the heads of the Colonial Army, but for me, it's going to have to be John Herring, because I'm here 2 hours before every basketball game. I work the basketball games, and he's here too. He's down there passing with the players, joking along with them. And if you didn't know, you'd probably think he's a manager, but he's just an incredible, crazy, fanatic fan. And so I have to give it up to John Herring. But Kate Bell is my girl too, so it's a tough one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The debate is probably between Kate Bell and John Herring. When I first came to my first GW basketball game, I saw Kate Bell working ID tech. I thought she worked here because she was so into the game, so animated. I thought that she definitely was some type of team manager. I realized what she was later. A great leader of the Colonial Army, as is John Herring. But personally, when I think school spirit and I think GW pride, I think Kate Bell. So my pick is definitely going to be her.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to disagree with you, Andy. I'm going to have to go back with John Herring on this one. He is my fellow brother.
In your fraternity, correct?
Oh, well, he could be my blood brother too. That, that's that's the kind of guy he is, and that's just the kind of he's so intense with his school pride that he makes you feel like part of the community with that pride. But no, all jokes aside, within our fraternity, John is constantly trying to get us to come out to every and all sporting events, and he's always being a great communicator with that, and he just shows real passion. I mean, like Alexis said, he is at every game early, getting ready, and he is there until the very end. Always making sure that people come out and then support the GW team. So for me, it has got to be John Herring. Well, now we're going to move on to the Team of the Year award. And now the nominees for this award are the gymnastics team, the men's basketball team, the men's soccer team, the women's basketball team, the women's soccer team, the men's tennis team, and the sailing team. Guys, Who did you have for this award?
This one's tough.
Very tough.
Because both the soccer teams won their regular season. The women's soccer team had the longest winning streak in NCAA. The tennis team won actually back-to-back A10 championships as well. The women's basketball team won back-to-back A10 championships. And the men finished the season for basketball with a win in the NIT. So, okay, G-Dub. Wow. I think I'm going to have to go with the women's basketball, though, because they've had a consistent season. They were consistent throughout. There was no fluctuation. I wasn't really worried about them winning the A10 championship. I was very confident them going into it. And with everything going on with Jonquel Jones' arm, they still played and still won games. And for me, it's got to be women's basketball.
Yeah, I agree. I actually agree women's basketball would be the pick for this. But we also look at the list. These are the best teams at GW right now. They competed the best. Gymnastics has always been top in the country. Men's basketball, great at the NIT tournament, a great run they had. Men's soccer, regular season champs for soccer in the A10. Women's basketball, of course, back-to-back A10 champs. So is tennis. Women's soccer, once again, the same thing with their regular season championship. But I think we have to focus on the success factor, and that goes to women's basketball. They're all great teams. They all had great moments, and they all had great, fantastic seasons. But when it comes down to success, it's women's basketball. Jonquel Jones embodies that success.
Yes.
I think it really is going to be, they should win the award.
Well, no, I'm going to agree with both of you guys, but I'd like to focus on, for women's basketball, some of that adversity that they had to face at the end of the season. You know, they had a great season. Again, back-to-back A10 championships, back-to-back NCAA appearances, and they played well in the tournament, even though they lost that first-round game. It was a tough competition in that first-round game, but then you come into that off-season where you're hoping to carry some momentum, and you know, your head coach ends up leaving, and then your best player ends up declaring for the WNBA draft. You know, it's tough. Those are tough instances to go through, but I still think that the girls are pulling through. I think they're still working hard, and so I think that, you know, for them to have that success, still have that adversity, but then to still be working hard to come out again next season. And the girls team, I think, signed a fantastic replacement coach to come in, and so I think that they can maintain that momentum and still perform well next season. So that's why, for me, the women's basketball team is the team to go with for this pick as well. Well, now we're going to move on to another award, which is the Dan Black Award. And now this award is given to the player who returned from an injury and came to perform well in their season after they came back from an injury. And the nominees for this award are Eddie Painter from the soccer team, Emma Goggin from the swimming and diving team, the men's tennis team as a whole, I think, was put up for a nomination. Then Alex Zois from the gymnastics team, and Lauren Chase from the women's basketball team. So guys, who did you have for this award?
Well, I mean, it's hard to come back from any injury. I know that I twisted my ankle before, and it was really slight, but I had to sit out, and I was devastated, so I can't even imagine having a big injury. Out of all of these sports, though, I feel like coming back from gymnastics would be the hardest because they're constantly flipping. They have to have a ton of muscle tone to their body, and once you lose that, it's hard to gain back. So I'm going to have to give it to Alex Zois.
Yeah, I think more of an adversity approach to it is men's tennis. They lost their head coach. He left for personal reasons and I think a family reason. And the fact that they came back and still won the A10 with their interim head coach, who was still a very good coach, the fact that they came back through that and still did the best they could do was amazing to me. Obviously, injuries are hard to come back from. All these athletes perform very well. I think the pick is men's tennis as a whole. They did very well this year, and they should earn this award.
Okay, so now we are going to move on to the best female athlete in a supporting role. And your nominees for this award are Brooke Bean from the soccer team, Michaela Sparks from the rowing team, Alexis Patricus from the gymnastics team, and Iman Lee from swimming and diving. So guys, what about this one?
I don't know about you, but I chose Brooke Bean. I know she had an injury and came back and was still supporting the team even when she wasn't in. She was just being a real role model as well for the girls. I know she makes incredible grades, and she's an SMPA, so she's always having different assignments that are very time-consuming, but she puts off time for the team and really focuses on them as well.
I actually also picked Brooke Bean. Not to be SMPA biased, I'm also an SMPA, so I applaud that. But she very involved in SAC, very involved in community service. I always hear emails about serving the community. So while she may have had an injury, she still did the best. She still did the best she could to be the best person, on and off the field. So I think she's definitely the pick for it, for what she's done for the school as well as her her team.
I also chose Brooke Bean for this award, and simply because coming off of that injury, she had a very devastating injury at the beginning of the season, was forced to sit out for her entire senior season, which is rough. But I mean, as you said, Alexis, she was still there supporting her team day in and day out, and I really think that that's something that this award embodies, and it says, you know, supporting role, and that can be with performance on the field, but I also think it goes beyond that and is for performance off the field as well, and I really think that Brooke has embodied that to the fullest degree, so that's why I think that she is the perfect person to win this award. Now, moving on now, we're going to look at the men's nominees for this same award, the male athlete in a supporting role, and the nominees for this award were Matt Robert from the baseball team, Chris Reynolds from the tennis team, Alex Matola from the basketball team, Alex Swart from the water polo team, and David Lincoln from the rowing team. Alexis, what did you have for this one?
This one was hard. It was kind of, I didn't really know how to interpret it or how to look at this because I don't know much about all these guys and how they contribute, but I have been to a few water polo games and I've seen Alex Swart cheer people on from the sidelines and kind of not really be in the water a lot, but he was always there, and he's always there for his teammates when they have little shindigs and different things. He's always like very social and fun to be around and just loves inviting new people over. So for me, it's going to have to be Alex Swartz because he's so nice and embodies the team very well.
I actually went with Chris Reynolds on this one. He came into the program, walked on, I believe, in the spring. I don't know if it was a walk-on for sure, but he came in spring 2015 from England. But he became a star, very talented, led the program several times in several matches. So I want to go with him because even though he didn't come in as a star, he was able to find his niche on the team and contribute to the team's success. So he's my pick for the supporting role.
Well, I had to go with Alex Matola for this one, and you know, we talked about you can contribute off the floor or the field, but I think you could also contribute in a supporting role on the field or the floor, and I think that's exactly what Matola did for the men's basketball team. He would always come in and give the boys an energy boost exactly when they needed it, and it was really, I mean, it was really evident then when, you know, the starting five maybe started to play a little flat in the middle of the game. He could come in and give them what they needed, and they could, you know, propel them towards the end of the game, and that's when they won some of their big games. You know, that was a lot of big games are decided by runs right in the middle of the game, and I think that Matola was a catalyst for a lot of those important runs that helped the men win games.
Actually, he also shows the importance of a transfer. Came from Dartmouth for graduate school to here. He's still a member of the team. He shows it, and he wants the team to do well, and he definitely did very well for the team this year. So another great embodiment of supporting a team.
Now we're going to move on to the Female Raise High Community Award. And now your nominees for this award are Lita Koskina from the soccer team, Emma Goggin from the swimming and diving team, Bella Sardiena from the rowing team, Lana Robbins from the tennis team, and Megan Lynn from the softball team. Guys, who did you have for this award?
I was up between either Lydia from the soccer team or Lana from the tennis team. I always would see Lana's picture on the big screen here at Smith during timeouts and stuff, saying that she was really involved and she had the most community service hours and she was the community service person of the month. So I think it's going to have to be Lana Robbins for me.
Yeah, I went with the same one. I do see her picture all over the Smith Center as well as on the Jumbotron. It's tough because when you measure community service, it's an issue of hours, what you're volunteering for. There's so many discrepancies. It's hard to pick one, but I'm gonna go with the same thing. Lana Robbins on the tennis team might be the best pick.
We discussed this when we discussed it with the Team Community Service Award. It's just hard to pick, as so many teams are so involved in a variety of things that it's hard to choose one person who really embodies.
There's no stats book for community service in my view.
So hopefully whoever is selected for this award, I think, is more than fitting. But then I think any one of them could be selected, and we wouldn't disagree with that. Well, now we're going to move on to the Male Race High Community Award, and for, your nominees for this award are Ben Fitch from the swimming and diving team, Shane Sweeney from the baseball team, David Lincoln from the rowing team, and Rob Craven from the cross country and track teams. What did you guys have for this one?
I see all of these people really involved. I see Ben Fitch around a lot, and I also see David Lincoln stands out to me, though, because he's involved in grassroots, and we always get emails about how we should volunteer in grassroots, and I actually did for a while and was trained to be a grassroots coach, and he was one of the teachers that taught me how to be a coach, and I just know he's really involved and passionate about it, so I think I'm going to have to choose David Lincoln for the Community Award.
Yes, I also do notice David Lincoln a lot. He's involved in grassroots very heavily, as you just said. I'm being a little bit biased. I'm picking Rob Craven, my teammate. He's involved in SAC. He also, while he's not doing service, he also has a very high GPA. He had a 4.0 last semester. He serves a lot there for the community. He has a lot of community service.
Right.
They mentioned that in the last SAC meeting. They thanked Rob for all of his help with SAC as well as community service. So I think while David Lincoln is passionate about grassroots, I'm putting all my my choices into Rob. That makes sense.
You know, and I had to go with Rob as well, and I think what really embodies it is the fact that he is actually one of the hosts for the Georgies, and you know, I think that perfectly embodies giving back to the community, and he really wants to give back not just to the maybe the DC community, which he has obviously done a lot, but I also think it's giving back to the GW community and the GW sports community. You know, he's hosting these awards. I just think that that's a perfect example of maybe not community service, but serving your community in a certain way. Now, finally, we're going to move on to the final award, which is the Moment of the Year award. What did you guys think for this? I mean, I feel like there could be so many awards, maybe that weren't even listed, but there were so many options.
So listed was the men winning the NIT, the women winning back-to-back A10 championships. We had Garrett Hines' overtime penalty kick against St. Louis, which St. Louis, if they won that game, they would have won the regular season, and they did end up, so that was a huge success to the men's soccer team. And then Alex Matola's buzzer beater against Hofstra, and then Andrea being an All-American in the NCAA, which is the first time here at GW. So I think that I'm going to have to go with the shot that Garrett Hines made, because our volleyball team was actually competing in St. Louis, and so we went to the game, and we all went insane. It was crazy, and I know the guys were incredibly excited, jumping up and down, doing the wings thing and running around. So I think that was a huge moment for GW sports.
I'll agree, it was a big moment. I'm going with Alex Matola's shot against Hofstra. It was a clutch shot, and it made them continue on in the NIT championship. While I agree, the women winning the A10 tournament as well as appearing in NCAA's was a very important accomplishment. One singular moment was Alex Matola's shot. Without that shot happening and going in, they wouldn't have had the success they had that year. But soccer's also a big deal. I'm just going to stay with Matola because that was the most, probably most viewed moment this year too, because it was on TV after all.
And I got to agree with you. I mean, after we said, nominating him for the supporting role, and the fact that he was supporting the team in that moment, not even supporting, but leading the team in that moment with that one shot. I mean, like you said, Andy, just one moment that could really make or break the entire season. I mean, obviously Garrett Haynes' shot was something similar to that. Both obviously very clutch moments, but obviously I knew more about Matola's shot, so that's why I got to go with Matola's shot.
All right.
Well, thank you for joining us here today. This has been a special episode of GW TV Unstoppable, giving you a preview look at the 2016 Georgies. Again, I'm your host, Sean Grant, and with me today, Alexis Letty, Andy Weber. Thank you for joining us, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
We hope to see you again next time.